We welcome you to Soccer County, where a pair of sides that delivered a pair of thrillers last season lock horns in the 914. It is Westchester SC hosting Charlotte Independence in Mount Vernon, New York. We say hello and welcome from Mount Vernon alongside Ryan Davis. I'm Sam Goldfarb, a Westchester side that fell 3-2-1 knocks in their opener, and now they take on Charlotte here.
They learned from their mistakes in the first game, their first 45 minutes. Didn't get things right in the second half. A huge change in the second half. Turned things around, but wasn't enough to tie the game up.
3-2 defeat against the defending champs, and now they face a new-look Charlotte Independence side that features their former head coach on staff in Dave Card.
This Charlotte Independence team is retooled and ready to go, but not only for this match, for the entire season. Enough depth there to compete in the league and compete in the playoffs in 2026.
Is a new-look Charlotte side, and when you look back on 2025, a squad that started hot but backed into the playoffs and wound up falling to the eventual champs in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they lost in the quarterfinals, but this Charlotte Independence team understood what they were missing in 2025 and give the front office full credit. They went out, corrected their mistakes, plugged the holes. Now this year, completely different season.
Heavy emphasis on upgrading the defense for Mike Jeffries, and when you look at the 11 later, you'll notice a lot of new faces on their back line here tonight. So Charlotte looking to take 3 points off Westchester for the third time in as many meetings since the start of Westchester's inaugural season last year. We will see if they can do just that. Westchester and Charlotte after this short break on ESPN Plus when we return lineups and kickoff. Tonight's match is brought to you by the Community Police Relations Foundation. Westchester SC and Charlotte Independence locking horns for the first of 2 meetings this year on a cold night in the Northeast. Today's starting lineups are presented by RXR Realty, Westchester Soccer Club's first choice for housing solutions. Ryan, 3 changes from the defeat last week, and Andrew Hammersley is back between the sticks.
He is, and it's going to give a chance for this Westchester team to try and limit goals. They conceded 3 last week. However, Hammersley back, maybe they stop hemorrhaging. But as for the Charlotte Independence team, Levy is back in goal for them as well. With Guthrie and Maru up top can provide goals. Alvarez on loan from the Rowdies. He is a dynamic winger with Vaquero pulling the strings in midfield at number 10. Joey Skinner, number 3, by the way, full of energy and crossing on the left-hand side.
Vaquero, one of those players you mentioned, yet another season in Charlotte. They were shocked that they were able to add him last season, and he was one of the top assist providers in all of USL League One. So it is Westchester and Charlotte tussling, and we are underway here from the stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. Thank you for joining us here tonight as we see if Westchester can get on the board here in 2026. Sam Goldfarb alongside Ryan Davis. This should be a fun one, should be end-to-end as well.
Yeah, I think both coaches want to get on the ball. Both coaches want to be inventive, be rewarding of their fans. They don't want to just play lockdown, defensive sort of style of play. Both of them want to hold possession. But more importantly, Charlotte Independence, they want to get out wide and attack with wings and speed. As for Westchester, they want to hold possession and create. They want to be the ones dictating the play in tonight's match.
They already get off on the front foot here. This is Dean Goosen, who rolls it into the back of the net. It is a flying start for Westchester, and they lead inside the opening minute.
Well, the Dutchman didn't take long to finish. Anyone from the Netherlands is full of pedigree and technique. No difference for Goosen. I tell you what, he was fortunate to get on the end of this one. Good pass on top of the box, and look at the finish. Corner pocket, 1-0, and we're only 45 seconds in. Superb finish by Goosen, and what a start for Westchester.
It is arguably the fastest goal you'll see in USL League One this week. Dean Goosen inside the opening minute. The 27-year-old out of Amsterdam in the Netherlands who joined from the Polish second tier a year ago. Last season, they were challenging him to produce more in the final third, and he does so right off the jump here.
Anybody who plays in Holland, technique is the #1 feature of a player. And that trap, get past the first challenge and then corner pocket, I mean, you can't teach that. Players have to learn that on their own. Fantastic stuff by Goosen.
Played in the Ajax and Feyenoord academies back in the day, so that pedigree undeniable, as you mentioned.
Look, Dennis Bergkamp-esque, the former Ajax great and Dutch great, had that same sort of touch and finesse on the ball.
Well, Charlotte, that's a rude awakening to begin their season, their first minute of the season, and they're already trailing.
But more importantly, this Westchester team who lost to Knoxville last week, at home gets a chance to rewrite the book, if you will, or rewrite the chapter. Did so in 50 seconds. That's the exact start you want at home to then put pressure back on Charlotte.
We were talking to George Jokai, the Westchester head coach this week, and he said the #1 point of emphasis inside the opening 15 minutes is gaining possession and pinning them in their own half, because that's exactly what One Knox did to us a week ago. How about that first start?
Yeah, you know, the problem with this team in the first game is that they give too much room between the forward line and the back line. Not so much tonight, it's just pure class.
Here's a cross in that is cut out by Javin Romero. Once again, Charlotte on the back foot.
And what we learned about Coach George Jokai is that he is a romantic. He wants to create, he wants to be inventive, and that game oozed creativity and inventiveness.
He's mentioned a lot about wanting his teams to take accountability, and he said this week he took full accountability for maybe not having his team set up the right way to handle One Knox. He said that he's still learning all of the personalities of his players and how they gel together. But this is a much better start than they experienced a week ago, and they have caught Charlotte flat-footed in their first match of the season.
He almost took the first match as a sketch pad to see how it's going to work out, and then he wrote his notes after that match and made the adjustments. He made the adjustments in the second half, too little too late, but it was a chance for him to get a good look at his team in a competitive atmosphere.
And already another free kick. It's Miguel Diaz and the goal scorer Dean Guzin in the vicinity. Arcs in from Diaz. Far too tight on the goalkeeper, Matt Levy.
You like the idea of testing the goalkeeper, put the free kick right next to him, see how he reacts. I think it was a little too easy for Levy, but I like the idea of swinging it in very close towards the keeper.
Jennings immediately snatches this back, and right now Charlotte can't string 3 passes together. This is Evans.
Well, it looks like a team that spent some time on the training ground, Westchester. They understand where the first outlet is and look very calm on the ball.
Diaz is prone on the deck after that coming together. Daniel Burko is also down on the pitch. Well, for those just joining us, you've missed a fast start for Westchester. Dean Guzin inside 45 seconds. And that separates the two sides. And ever since, Charlotte has yet to find a way out. Of course, this is an Independence team that is very new look. They overhauled their roster after backing into the playoffs a year ago, when just 3 of their final 18 regular season matches in USL League One. And lost on the final match day as well. Just about managed to inch into the playoffs and then fell to the eventual champions and Player Shield winners in One Knox. And Mike Jeffries, talking to him this week, he spoke about wanting to upgrade the defense, bring in athletic players who have a little more stamina. And you see, he's still trying to get everything sorted in their opener.
But I love the fact that he did want to bring in athletic centre-backs, because that allows the rest of the team to push forward and press higher, because they can then recover if the ball goes over the top. So it gives you different dimensions when you don't have the ball. And in modern-day football or modern-day soccer, the defensive pressing is almost like an attacking play. So it gives you more tools to work with in your attacking side of the ball without the ball.
And in many respects, if you win the ball high up in a press, you take away any countering opportunities.
Correct. And to have athletic centre-backs means you can recover a lot quicker when your team pushes high up the field.
Westchester's winning every first and second ball at the moment. Jimenez wins a free kick.
It's a bit of an awkward position. It's maybe a little too close to get it up and over to get someone to head the ball. Of course, you can't try a shot from here. So you're going to have to use the angle. And Bakera's going to have to try and exploit this far side over here to the right of the D. That's where the 4 blue shirts are.
It's Guzin who stands over it again. Floats it into the court of uncertainty. It's just beyond the reach of Burko. Still loose. Levy finally secures it.
Can I say I love the fact that referees, and this is a collective effort over the last 4 or 5 years, have allowed forwards to contest now. Anything near the vicinity of the goalkeeper used to be a whistle, a free kick, let's get started again. Now you get a chance to bump, you know, throw the keeper off a little bit, not on purpose, but you're allowed to actually challenge for the ball.
I think there's been a movement of forwards having the right to challenge for balls now, and it's made the game a lot more competitive in the boxes.
Before, any time the keeper was in the vicinity, it was a free kick.
It's ushered wide. Charlotte's starting to establish a foothold, and this is a clever ball forward. Can't quite pick out the run of Swebu Maru, but it does go out for Charlotte's corner, so they're first of the night.
But Godfrey's first touch was exquisite. I mean, it's the sort of inventiveness you want in the last third of the field, that sort of unrehearsed flick.
Well, fans, all corner kicks are brought to you by Ice Air, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Charlotte's first of the match. It is John Baquero who stands over it. Delivers without swing towards Maru. Cut out at the near post. Space for Miguel Diaz to run into now. And run he does. Ushered wide. Westchester never really had numbers there, but they do win a corner.
Again, you like the positivity from one corner, then they go and win a corner on the other end, trying to eat up that space, trying to be positive. They didn't pull it back and go square. They kept going forward, and now put Charlotte right back on their heels. This young man, Baquero, comes from his team Prestige back in Spain.
Father played professional football in Spain for years. Former Spanish national team standout as well. There's an in-swinger from Diaz. Falls to the edge of the area for McGlynn. He may have committed a foul as Maroon Company look to wrestle their way free.
Just as much I appreciate the fact that they're allowing forwards to contest with goalkeepers, this is the problem in football. That was a professional foul. Conor McGlynn's team was out of position. There was a mini counter. No effort to play the ball. That's supposed to be a yellow card. The referee doesn't hold that standard, which means allow other things to take place now.
Definitely did appear to be a yellow card worthy offense.
Not because of the harshness of the challenge, but because it was a professional foul.
It's a cynical challenge.
Yes. No attempt to go for the ball.
There's Guffroy. New addition out of the American college ranks for the Independents. I start to see them progress towards this Westchester goal. Romero.
Look at the defensive discipline now by this Westchester team. Understand they're up a 0-0. All the pressure now is on Charlotte's end. They're now sitting in a low block. Airtight defense. Now Charlotte has to come out wide.
Alvarez. He is quite the standout for Charlotte. 4th season with the Jacks, loaned back to Charlotte from Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Got a chance to see him in Tampa Bay last year. He's certainly a dynamic player. He wants to take players on, very creative. The sort of positive attitude a coach wants from an attacking midfielder.
Mike Jeffries has mentioned the need for balance as well, because a player like Alvarez can change the game, so can Baquero, but also they'll try many things that don't come off. So he's mentioned having players around them that can win the ball back and maybe account for some of those misplayed passes.
Yeah, you kind of have to have that cover behind those finesse players, someone who gets stuck in to win the ball back. Understand, winning the ball back in the middle of the park creates chances and counter-press opportunities.
There's another opportunity brewing, but it was taken off of Evans' feet.
I tell you what, the body language by this Westchester team is fantastic. All the fans at home watching it right now, you have to get to the edge of your seat because they are willing to contest for every 50-50 and they want to move the ball forward. Like that.
Timchenko breaks the lines. It's kept in play by Diaz. Cross just sails out of play. You bring up a good point, though, Ryan, because when talking to George Jokai at the beginning of this season, he mentioned that the intangibles he's looked for when rebuilding this Westchester roster were players who were willing to run large distances and cover ground and get stuck in physically. So that at times last year, he felt that this Westchester side lacked that. And you see already, they're flying into challenges, and they are first to everything at the moment. On cue, Evans scrapping for it and doing so overzealously.
I think one of the words he used was commitment. The players have to be committed once that first whistle blows. What does commitment mean? Well, getting stuck in on passes, dueling on 50-50s, and when you have the ball, try to be positive. Yes, he side passes there, and yes, you have to use it to gain space. But when you do get to a position to play a forward pass, try to be positive. It becomes contagious.
It is exuding throughout the side at the moment. That's clever. Evans. Jennings. Now Diaz. Looking for Jennings on the underlap, and this time it's read well by Joey Skinner, a player you know very well.
Yeah, Joey Skinner was used off the bench for the Rowdies for the last, I believe, year or two. But he's also one of those players that you want to play as a wing back, not as just a full back. You want to give him the green light to get forward. That's some of his best attacking attributes to go along with his counterpart, Noah Powder, on the other side for Westchester.
Played just 2 seasons of college soccer, but made a real name for himself during his first year at UNC Greensboro, and also SoCon first-teamer. As this is hoofed over the top towards Burko, who tries for goal and just drags it wide. And the flag may have stayed down there as well.
Well, that high back line by Charlotte being exposed And Burko did a great job. He took it well. Look at this ball over the top, lots of room to play with. And a back line that was out of sync. He did well, just couldn't find that corner pocket. He had a lot to do still with a bouncing ball over his head.
This has all the makings of a potential end-to-end thriller at the moment. There's Jaime, who outwits a number of defenders and finally is dispossessed. Timchenko, someone who George Jokai has said is a leader of this defense at just 23 years old. Guzin spraying it long.
Beautiful.
It's a fantastic ball. Just lacking that touch in the final third. It's a good recovery by Rahoud Manin.
Haven't seen much of Conor McGlynn so far in the first 15 minutes, and that's what Mike Jeffries wanted. He wanted to make sure to cut the head off the snake, get on top of McGlynn, do not let him dictate the play in the middle of the park. And so far for Charlotte, when it comes to just maneuvering the ball through the midfield, it's worked so far for Charlotte in cutting off McGlynn's service.
But even still, it feels like they're controlling the run of play at the moment.
Well, because you're committing players to stop McGlynn, that means other players are finding space. Players like Guzin, who's now making use of that space. It's like a domino effect. And that's how influential McGlynn is.
He's a player that can command the game without the ball.
Correct.
Alvarez. Read well by Timchenko. And here's Evans. George Jokai says he has stardust littered all over him. It's a ball that doesn't quite reach Geoffroy and company.
I think it's one of those seasons for Kyle Evans where he really gets to leave his mark on USL League One. If he stays here, great. If not, fantastic for him as well. But it's a chance for Westchester to get a chance to really utilize that skill.
On cue, here is Evans, and he slips behind the back line. Was hunting the run of Daniel Burko, but it was a quality recovery by Manin. McGlynn. Guzin. Threads it through brilliantly, and Burko is denied from close range, but he was offside anyways.
Love the speed off of the line to thwart the through ball. It was Levy off his line in a flash. Got there first. The pass was exquisite, and because of the artificial turf, the ball just took that much more pace towards the goalkeeper, and it was unkind to the forward.
It's been a slick series of movements, though, for Westchester in possession.
The speed of play in the last third is so impressive. You don't usually see this speed of play until about 3 or 4 weeks into the season. But it looks like Coach Jokai has really got them in sync through this last week of practice.
He's mentioned how it was a short preseason due to all the snowstorms in the area. There were limited amounts of time for them to train as a unit. He's still learning how everyone gels together, but he's very optimistic about the potential of this group. His first 15 minutes and change have definitely shown why. This is Skinner. Alvarez. Romero. Floating it long. Does reach its target over the top. Jaime clipping it into the mixer. And Andrew Hammersley off his line to collect for the first time today.
You love the positivity by Charlotte. They're trying to create something, trying to get something back. Have to give Westchester credit. There's nothing through the middle. Charlotte has to come back onto just a poor angle to get a cross in. So yes, the cross came in, but that was a win for Westchester.
Andrew Hammersley starting his first match of the season. Himself and Matias Molina in a 50-50 battle at the moment. Molina starting last week. George Jokai saying he didn't do anything to cost himself the position, but it's about giving both guys opportunities to establish themselves between the sticks. Hammersley looks long for Burko, not nearly had the distance required. Has the feeling that they're going to connect on one of those long balls and break apart this defense at some point.
Well, this is what Mike Jeffries is hoping for, that his back line of Romero and I believe, is it Koulibaly?
Koulibaly's back there as well,
yep.
but Riascos as well.
I believe he wants his physical and quick back line to be able to recover. I think that's the reason they spent so much attention on this back line in the offseason.
It's Riascos. It appears Koulibaly's on the bench tonight, but they also have Manin, who's a quality threat there as well. Does look the part of a proper back 3-5 setup, though. Hammersley being asked to play with his feet. Molina is more known for his ability to do that.
Well, this is one thing that Coach Jokai wanted. He wanted to draw or lure teams into their half, maybe go over the top or go around the sides to get past the press. But because he wanted to play out of the back, he really appreciates the fact that teams will come onto them and they can find gaps on the other end.
20 minutes gone, still 1-0 to Westchester, courtesy of Dean Guzen's first-minute opener. Sam Goldfarb, Brian Davis on hand for this first of two meetings this year. Westchester fell in both meetings last season against Charlotte Independence. That includes a 3-2 defeat on this very ground in May of last year. As you get your look at the Northwell Health injury report, nothing officially reported. Some guys for Westchester that are working their way into the fold. That is nearly a breakdown defensively. That was just about handled by Jimenez.
Well, there's the faithful who showed up on a cold night in Westchester. Just got a little glimpse of the crowd.
914th Infantry out here in full force, one of the fastest growing supporter bases in all of USL League One.
I asked an MLS coach a week ago what he thought about the US changing its format, MLS, USL, into the international format, about playing throughout the winter. And he said, the only thing I have to say is it's going to be cold.
Well, fans, you can catch every heart-pounding moment at Westchester's home stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. 2026 season tickets are on sale now, offering flexible payment plans, priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. Don't miss out on an unforgettable season of fun, friends, community, and soccer. Visit westchestersc.com to become a 2026 season ticket member today. Well, it is a cold night in Westchester, to your point. Temperatures dipping below 40 now, and that's what you expect this time in March in the Northeast.
But we're hoping to get on the international schedule and start back again at the end of January. So they'll have the summers off like everybody else, and then you get Christmas off and then start back again towards the end of January. So teams up in this part of the region are going to have some very, very frigid temperatures to play through. That's expected to start in 2027.
Geoffroy looking forward, but Carroll can't keep it in play, but a throw for Charlotte. Starting to see moments of enjoyment in possession now. Manin, beyond the reach of Christopher Jaime.
Like the idea, trying to the reverse pass, trying to be inventive in that last third. Again, we mentioned still early days. Those sorts of passes will connect in the coming weeks for Charlotte.
It is their first match of the season. It's important to note Westchester does have a game under its belt, so there is that factor of things, seeing how your team fares against competitive opposition in a league-like setting.
And the last thing the Independents needed was to go down a goal after 50 seconds. Now, they're trying to find their way in Westchester, who has their tails in the air after getting that goal. And now the Independents are trying to find their way in their first match on the road.
Here's Alvarez, still looking to establish himself. Burko, former standout at Hofstra. Diaz.
Oh,
that is cleverly done.
beautiful.
And now threads it into space for Evans, who can't quite pick out Guzin. Still with Burko, though. The whistle sounds just outside the area for a free kick.
Tried his best to play the advantage. He waited, he waited, he waited. When the advantage was not there, he called it right back. Look at this skill by Diaz. Splits two defenders. Beautiful. This is like in the streets. And he was brought down by a cynical challenge by Alvarez. But I tell you what, Miguel Diaz from Peru, that was beautiful.
Westchester Flames product in USL League Two, who's made the jump to League One, and it looks seamless so far.
Looks like he belongs.
Absolutely. It's Diaz and Guzin over it. Guzin took it too quickly for our referee's liking.
Well, he's going to get a second crack. I think the referee was pointing to his watch.
We will run it right back now. Guzin arcs it towards goal, and this one lacked the quality required.
Well, the second take wasn't as good as the first. Guzan trying to find that far post. And curled it too closely towards the middle, and it just sailed over the bar. But again, just the eye test after 25 minutes. This Westchester team looks to be really, really positive at the moment.
It's night and day from last week against One Knox, but Skinner wins this back cleanly, plays it across, McGlynn recovering in the nick of time.
Got a glimpse of what a wing back can bring you. You have your three centre backs covering. Joey Skinner now can cut in, he can cut wide. He has the freedom to roam, and almost delivered an equalizer there.
All action fullback. Now another corner for Charlotte. In-swinger. Headed wide by Skinner. Well, Ryan, if you are Charlotte, how do you establish more of a foothold in this?
I think you want to hold some more possession. I think you want to, there's oodles of time left. This Westchester team are hunting in packs. They're hungry. I think you have to take the air out of the ball, slow things down, control the tempo, make them chase, and then you're going to find your rhythm while they chase their legs off. So I think the two actions, you would find your rhythm, and then you create more chances that way. And also, by them chasing, you'll have some tired legs out on the field, find more space.
The more you suffer, the more your opponent suffers, the more space you'll have to exploit as the game wears on.
It's like body punches in a boxing fight.
War of attrition.
And this is where they're going to find your rhythm and slow things down.
Go back to Levy. Perhaps too direct. McGlynn. Alvarez is trod upon by McGlynn. The referee says there's nothing in that.
Well, I think Conor McGlynn may have gotten away with one there. There was some contact on Alvarez, and he was second to the party.
The referee has set a high threshold for yellow card already, though. We saw the counterattack that didn't warrant a yellow either. Guzin. It's Diaz now, who just runs it out of play.
Well, he's going to have a little bit of a case. The only reason he didn't get to that ball was because of the infringement. The referee didn't want to, I guess, be too ticky-tacky.
Well, now the whistle sounds. Still have yet to see enough from John Baccaro on the ball, and to Westchester's credit, they've kept the ball out of Charlotte's grasp for large spells. But Baccaro is someone with 9 assists a year ago, ended the year second in League One in assists. We've yet to see him have a chance to truly influence this.
And that was because, I think, because they haven't found their rhythm. They haven't kept the ball. Baccaro is the type of player that needs the ball to his feet. They don't need long balls over the top. It takes your attacking midfielder out of the play. And I'm going to throw a name out here. In South America, it's called the enganche. He's going to dictate the play. And if you keep going directly to your forwards from the back line, you're going to bypass here in Ganche.
And you never let him get in rhythm.
And he's the guy that's supposed to dictate the play in Creekview. He's usually the best player on the field.
There's Alvarez. He's another candidate for that role.
There has to be some trust. Even though there's a player on his back, you still have to give him the ball at his feet, let him get a feel for it.
Skinner. Guzin, lone goal scorer thus far, came inside 45 seconds. Burko shoving off his defender there.
But they look so quick and lively, Westchester.
There's that layer of match sharpness that maybe Charlotte lacks because it's their opener.
Yeah, and away from home. And a team that's just very hungry.
Skinner. McGlynn. That's too far behind Guzin. Burko assisting with his defensive duties, though. Swabu Maru is the penalized party, the aggrieved party. We spoke a lot about that 2-0 comeback where Charlotte came here in May and won 3-2. Swabu Maru is the subject of notoriety of that fixture because he came on at halftime and became the first ever League One halftime substitute to score a hat trick. And if you look at the 914th Infantry social media page this week, they weren't thrilled about his efforts a year ago. And they've made it clear that he needs to be the target of their ire tonight, so to speak.
He's now the subject of folklore in Westchester. Living legend now.
It was a match that will live in infamy for the Westchester faithful. It was a performance that will live in Hall of Fame lore in USL League One. As this is flicked on towards Maru. Well, that would have been a perfect full circle moment, wouldn't it? It's a good stop from Hammersley.
I love the fact that they went out wide, gave them some more angle to work with. And in the end, a good delivery by Jaime. Actually, not Jaime, it's number 8. Yes, it is Jaime.
It's the first time we've seen Maru get in a threatening spot all evening. Baquero.
Lovely.
Skinner.
Lovely. Starting to find some rhythm here.
Alvarez.
Keeping the ball on the carpet. Rolling it around. White shoots getting on the ball now.
Starting to hit that layer of confidence in possession. Just beyond the half-hour mark now. Alvarez. Baquero. Threaded through back to John Baquero, who tries for goal. Quality stop from Hammersley and then cleared away rather confidently. And finally, the first yellow card of the match is out, and it is shown to Daniel Burko.
Well, Guthrie has had a couple of flicks that has been absolutely inventive. That one into the path of Baquero, again, splitting the defense in two. And Baquero does everything. Look at this flick here, bang, into the path of Baquero. It goes across the keeper. Everything is right here. Just unlucky he didn't bounce for a wide shoot. But Guthrie and Baquero, that was beautiful.
Matisse Guffroy at the source of everything, and then Daniel Burko is opposite number up front. Penalized for the overzealous challenge, so first man in the book for either side. Alvarez. Cross comes in dangerously. It's a tame effort in the end.
Yeah, he had so much to do. He was all the way beyond the penalty spot, and the ball didn't have that pace behind it, so hard for the forward to find the power.
You've mentioned it, partner. There seems to be a lot more confidence in possession from Charlotte, and a lot of the positive actions coming from Joey Skinner's boots. As Burko races forward here. Manages to hold up quite well. And now upended for a free kick. That's classic center forward play.
Yeah, just wait for the contact, keep your body between the defender and the ball. And Jaime bits, and he bit hard.
More target practice for Dean Guzin, it seems. Miguel Diaz is also lingering. As arcs it into the area. Too much hand fighting in the penalty box, it seems. We might run it back.
Seems to be the second time this has happened. One on the near side, now on the far side. And the referee wants the exact blade of grass as well.
Attempt 2. Diaz again, arcing with menace, but right into Levy's gloves.
Again, the artificial turf is unforgiving. Anything in front of the player, it's just going to trickle downhill.
Well, fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history with Westchester's first professional soccer club. Season tickets start at just $15 per game, bringing you world-class action at an unbeatable value. Visit westchestersc.com to learn more and secure your seat for the 2026 season. Don't miss out. Final 10 minutes of the first half. Sam Goldfarb, Ryan Davis on hand for this clash between Westchester SC and Charlotte Independence. 1 goal for Westchester in the first minute, scored by Dean Guzin, separating the two sides. As the offside flag shoots up on the far side against the Golden Apple.
I have to say, the last 8 minutes or so, Charlotte Independence starting to get on the ball more, starting to get more possession. And as a result, the players are starting to look a little bit more sharper.
More numbers float forward here. Noah Powder able to read it. It is important to note, this is a Westchester side that a year ago struggled to protect leads. Dropped 38 points from winning positions. That was a league record a year ago by a significant margin. This is a much different looking team though. One built more on its defensive solidity. As you see Dickerson here track his runner step for step and do a job.
Just to give you an idea about Charlotte's possession-wise, 63% now to 36.
In many respects, it's the inverse of many Mike Jeffries-led teams we've seen. Mike Jeffries' squad's known for counterattacking more than anything.
Yeah, and now because they have to sit deep and allow players to come onto them with their slow backline, now because of the quick backline, they can sort of force the action a little bit, control the game a little bit more. Hence the reason the reshaped backline provides more tools for them to work with.
Is another corner. It's presented by Ice Air once again, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Out-swinging corner from Baquero. Skinner got his head to it, but right at the goalkeeper, Hammersley, who to his credit has passed every test his way. Evans. Guzin. A line-breaking ball out wide. They keep it in play through Jimenez. Guzin again. He does just enough, but cleared only as far as Noah Powder. Player that you are quite a fan of at the moment.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times for his national team, Trinidad and Tobago, with 34 appearances now. He's dynamic. He can play left back and he can play right wing if you like.
Very versatile player for Westchester. Ball from Guzin and touch behind Burko. Jaime.
Let's just say he's a coach's dream.
Baquero. Dances past Powder. Threads it into the space. A chance brewing for Jaime. Timchenko makes himself an obstacle. You see the energy of the 24-year-old Timchenko, someone who George Jokai has raved about. Now Skinner on the near side, clipping it to the back stick, back into the mixer and right off the post. Golden chance for Baquero that goes begging. Now Jimenez, Burko. They'll come back to that earlier foul, but what a major opportunity this was for Charlotte.
Well, the first one, Jaime scuffed, but then they won the ball back. It came onto this left side, Skinner's cross. I love the decision by Dimmick to just put it right back on top of the penalty spot, and Bakero has to keep that down. When you're 12 yards out, it's like a penalty on your laces. Have to put that on target. Cross back into the rescue.
Had Hammersley at his mercy.
Yes.
There. Evans. McGlynn turning into space now. Knocked wide again. This is a blazing run down the far side. Jimenez. Diaz has done a little bit of everything on it so far. We tick towards 40 minutes, and it appears we have an entertaining one brewing here in Westchester County.
Again, spacing.
Snatched back by Maru, and numbers ahead. Alvarez into the box, looking for options across, and Dean Guzin there to break it up.
Great run by Alvarez, but he only had one white shirt to pick out, which is Bakero, who was sandwiched between two blue shirts. So he just tried to put it in space, hoping another white shirt will show up.
Jimenez the other direction now, end-to-end stuff. Evans fouled to the chagrin of Javin Romero and company. Shown a yellow card for his reaction as well.
Well, Romero really let his presence be felt. Not only did he go over the player, but he treaded on him purposely. Look at this when he goes over here. So now the centre-back has to toe the line for the entire second half with a yellow card. And when somebody's entire game is spent on tackling and defending, that is no easy task.
Free kick here for Westchester. It's Evans and Guzin in the immediate vicinity of it. So Evans and it appears to be maybe Diaz. They leave it for Guzin. Not the finest of training ground routines. Does come back fortuitously to Kyle Evans, though. Finally bashed away. Alvarez. Looking for Swebu Maru. Didn't get on the same wavelength there.
Love the fact that Alvarez was trying to be creative, but Maru was, again, between two blue shirts, nowhere to go. And that was one to go square rather than vertical.
Here's Diaz. Jaime. His influence has grown with every ticking moment. Diaz again, looking to send Burko in. He does pick him out. Flag stays down. This is Daniel Burko. Down in the area, completely clean. Charlotte's handled that situation rather well.
Excellent run by Burko, but great job by Charlotte, just keeping him in front of them.
The other direction, Swebu Maru. Jaime. Bakero. Looking back for Jaime. Was inventive, and Hammersley able to keep it in play. Fans, 2026 Westchester Soccer Club's U.S. Open Cup journey starts on Thursday, March 19th, right here at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. Tickets are now on sale. Come cheer on your county's team as we take on the New York Renegades. Tickets start at just $5 and are selling fast. Visit westchestersc.com for more information. All part of a busy run of fixtures. 4 straight fixtures for Westchester to begin their season at home. We'll look to build on an Open Cup journey that ended in the 3rd round last year. Final minute of the initial 45.
I have to say Westchester have come out, especially in the first 25 minutes, dictating the play. They got on the front foot, put Charlotte back on the back foot, exactly what you want at home. And it's taken a while for Charlotte to then sway to come back onto the front foot. They have done that in the last, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes because they've retained possession and started to dictate the play. But this Westchester team are now starting to pick their spots as Charlotte come forward.
Guzin hits this one well over the bar. To your point about picking their spots, he's done that there. All eyes on our 4th official in a matter of moments. Westchester may be fortunate to go into halftime up 1-0. Remember, Charlotte did rattle the crossbar, but they're hunting more here. This is Burko. Pings it into the area, right at Joey Skinner. Well, fans, injury time is presented by Marr & Marr Attorneys at Law, fighting for every minute you deserve, and it's just 2 minutes of added time here in this first half.
Well, if Westchester play their cards right, they can actually pinch Charlotte here for the next at least minute and a half if they can hold some possession.
Alvarez. Broken up there by Jimenez. He's fouled in the process by Luis Alvarez, and he earns himself a yellow card. One final set piece before the half is out.
Alvarez just came in. You want your midfielders to get stuck in, but he was so late to the challenge. Easy call for the referee and an easy yellow card as well.
Inside the final minute of stoppage time, and this is likely Westchester's last opportunity to compound their advantage. Dickerson headed behind rather dangerously, and a corner results.
We're not done yet.
There's a risky header there from Riascos.
Timchenko is now floated towards that back post. Definitely one of the centre backs who would like to pick out.
Dean Guzin getting more opportunity to ask questions of the Charlotte defense.
And this man has a left foot that could knit a sweater.
Certainly one way to put it.
Crafty.
Hooking towards the back stick. McGlynn makes a run, just headed wide, and there is the halftime whistle. Well, Ryan, a fast start for Westchester. Dean Guzin on the board within a minute, and from there, they pushed on and dominated large spells.
Yeah, they were worthy for their 1-0 lead. Yes, it scored after 50 seconds, but then they dominated the way things were played out in the next 25 minutes. Independence came back in, but Westchester, good value for their 1-0 lead.
1-0 to Westchester at halftime. We'll step aside when we return to look around the league in USL League One. We welcome you back to Westchester, where halftime is brought to you by the Community Police Relations Foundation. Westchester SC leading Charlotte Independence 1-0 after 45 minutes. It's time to get a look at the expansion clubs throughout the USL in 2026.
As we embark on another long journey to USL titles in the Championship and League One, contenders are now joined by even more contenders. 2026 opens the door to 7 new clubs, 2 in the Championship, 5 in League One. Sporting Jacks and Brooklyn FC joined the Eastern Conference in the Championship, increasing the league total to 25 clubs. And another record for League One, with AC Boise, Corpus Christi FC, Fort Wayne FC, New York Cosmos, and Sarasota Paradise matching the expansion record of 5 teams just last year. It makes an interesting challenge for all League One teams with playoff expectations, beginning with defending champion Knoxville. And head coach Ian Fuller loves the challenge.
What is different this year about preparations for expansion clubs, which means more travel, more talent coming into the league?
Yeah, you have to be ready for anything in this league. Yeah. Almost every league in North America is like this. You're going to have expansion teams, a lot of different players. We've got a lot of new players, and we're going to face a lot of new players in the league and some new clubs and some new venues. It's kind of just the trickiness of this league.
Do teams coming in just because they're new doesn't mean they're at a disadvantage against, well-oiled teams like yours?
No, certainly you've got coaches that have coached in the league and done really, really well come in and with expansion teams. So, you've got a lot of players that have played in the league and played in higher leagues. You're going to have some really difficult opponents, even though they are expansion teams.
Last season, FC Naples finished 4th in the League One standings, one of 2 expansion teams to make the postseason. A tough task for new clubs this year as League One grows to 17 clubs.
Oh, what a strike!
This week on USL All Access, Lexington and Louisville give us a Commonwealth Cup to remember on opening day. Plus, Ryan Martin, the head coach of Oakland Roots, joins the show.
How a relationship from his childhood and his father's best friend led to his first ever coaching job and helped lay the foundation for some of the better growth we've seen at the youth level in this country.
Every Tuesday, USL All Access on SiriusXM FC, and the next day on the USL YouTube page.
USL League One kicks off. Players Shield winners. He does it again. Their first ever goal in club history.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Copy 20. We welcome you back to Westchester County, where at halftime, Westchester holds a narrow advantage over Charlotte Independence in this mid-March tussle. Tim Goldfarb, Ryan Davis on hand. Ryan, a strong first half for Westchester, and they hold the lead at halftime.
Yeah, and they deserve it. 1-0 lead. Fantastic take by Buzan to give them that 1-0 lead after 50 seconds. But then they dominated the play in the first half. The body language was electric, and I think Charlotte Independence have a lot of answers to come forward to in the second half.
It's now time to check in with Dan Lucas, who has our USL halftime update.
It is halftime in USL League One. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines for this week. A pair of first-year clubs in USL collected wins in their inaugural matches. Dennis Kostashin scored in the 75th minute to lift AC Boise to a 1-0 win over Sarasota Paradise, which was also playing its first ever League One match. In the USL Championship, Brooklyn FC defeated Indy 11 1-0 with a penalty kick from last year's League One Golden Boot winner, JC Obregon. And how's this for a debut? One Knoxville's Denis Kruchenkov scored not one, but 2 goals in his first professional game, helping Knoxville get past Westchester SC 3-2. They say veteran leadership always matters, and that's what we have to start the season in Greenville. Brandon Frick, Evan Lee, and Tyler Polak have combined to play more than 42,000 career minutes. That's the top 3 minutes played in League One history. A pair of matches over in the championship will be broadcast in Spanish on 2DN Wednesday the 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Lexington SC hosts Brooklyn. Then on Saturday the 28th, a 4 p.m. Eastern start between Detroit City and Charleston Battery. That's a look at the headlines for this week. Let's get you back to your match for the second half.
We welcome you back to Westchester, where at halftime, the Golden Apple hold a 1-0 advantage against Charlotte Independence in their second League One match of the year. It's time to get a look back at those 45 minutes, and it was a fast start for Westchester, scoring within the first minute of the game.
The fastest of starts. It was a fortunate bounce, but look at this play. One touch, easy tackle, and the second touch, corner pockets. Fantastic stuff for Buzan to give them a 1-0 lead in the opening minutes. That is just skill and class. We can't teach that at home.
It was a fast start for Westchester, and then they would push on a number of chances in the opening 25.
Another ball over the top against a high back line, and almost a chance for Uko to finish. She had a lot to do, almost find the bottom corner.
Then Charlotte started to hit back after the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, they started to get some possession underneath their feet, started to find their rhythm, and the players like Heine and Maru started to carve out chances.
As the half wore on, more set pieces for Charlotte. Andrew Hammersley was called into action a fair few times. And then after this one, Charlotte would rattle the post in what was their best chance of the match.
Also, their best move, it was Skinner on the left-hand side. Good deep cross. And Dimick plays it right back into the mixer. And Bakira really has to put it on goal from that distance.
Golden chance for John Becerra to pull the Jacks level. And then that was their last major opportunity of the first half. Although as the half wore on towards a close, Charlotte enjoyed much more of the ball. Clay Dimick hoping to surge them forward as we get this second half underway. Well, it is a chance for Westchester to notch a major victory this early in the season at home and make a statement after disappointment last week. Charlotte, though, looking to battle back.
Yeah, Charlotte also has so much firepower on the bench. Of course, Enzo Martinez coming down from USL League Championship. So to Prince Sadie, they probably will be introduced towards the middle of the second half. Allow them to get their legs and allow them only to put out or exert only for the 25 minutes in their first outing of the season.
Enzo Martinez, a club legend who is looking to begin his third stint on the right foot. We'll see if and when he features here this evening. Will be Charlotte now going from left to right on your screen, Westchester from right to left. This a consequential 45 minutes as both these squads look to etch an early statement. We await our referee signal to get things back underway. Will it be Westchester bouncing back from the disappointment against the defending champions a week ago, or will it be Charlotte turning the tables after doing so on this very pitch 10 months ago? We will find out in a matter of 45 minutes.
You can see the movement of the players on the pitch, just trying to stay warm. Gives you an idea what's it like in Westchester tonight. And the temperature tonight is?
Cold, but we'll get you the exact number. 37 degrees Fahrenheit, 11-mile-an-hour winds.
A steamy 37 on the pitch. So you can understand why the players are trying to keep moving, keep their body warm.
Can Charlotte get it done on a cold night in Westchester? That's the ultimate question here.
There's an old saying in English football, can you do this on a cold night in Stoke?
That's exactly what I was referencing. Can you do it on a cold night in Westchester? That's the question. It's not wet in Westchester. It's a cold, wet night in Stoke, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
We're back underway. Charlotte looking to play from behind and pull off another turnaround against Westchester. Westchester looking to notch their first ever victory against the Jags. Sam Goldfarb, Ryan Davis on hand. Great start for Westchester to that first half, and they're picking up right where they left off.
Oh, he has been such a factor in the first half. Diaz giving them that width and trickery on that right-hand side.
This time just muscled off it, but you see the promise he exudes whenever he touches it.
The desire to get behind the back line, try and supply Burko with some sort of service.
Also sounds against Jonathan Jimenez, the loanee from Hartford Athletic. We've spoken a little bit about how George Jokai has overhauled this Westchester roster, Ryan. Last year, a team that was built on established veterans, 10 players a season ago with USL Championship or League One experience, a lot of money spent on high-profile players, and it never really panned out. A lot of players got injured, and as the season wore on, tired legs set in, finished last in the table. This year, they brought in guys who are maybe a little lower profile, but known for their tenacity out of possession. You're starting to see that vision on display here tonight.
Yeah, the more the game wears on, the more the identity comes to the surface. And that sort of gritty player, that sort of selfless player, is such a big part of modern day soccer, you know. Everyone has energy is the new currency, put it that way. And the more energy is the more valuable you are. So you can see that starting to come to fruition on the pitch.
Also spoke a lot about availability, George Jokai, last week when we talked to him ahead of the One Knox match. Biggest thing he mentioned was, I want a track record, players with a track record of availability. His counterpart, Mike Jeffries, also has overhauled the roster. We spoke about the emphasis on athleticism in defense. We started to see some of that in the form of Joey Skinner with his ability to get forward in that first half, as Charlotte has looked to battle back. This is Alvarez, the loanee from Tampa Bay Rowdies. Manin floats it forward. It's an appetizing ball that rolls right through to Hammersley. In many respects, it did feel like halftime came at a good time for Westchester as the whistle sounds against Andrew Hammersley. And so that will yield Charlotte a corner because he's held onto it for longer than 8 seconds.
You don't usually see players wasting time in the opening 3 minutes of a second half. Yes, the 8 seconds may have passed, but certainly an original call from the referee.
Corner presented by Ice Air as this outswinging corner comes in. It may have contacted a Charlotte head last, that it did. Corner kicks presented by Ice Air, keeping every play cool and comfortable. Well, you can bet your bottom dollar he's not going to take 8 seconds to boot this long.
Correct, message sent.
Guffright. Alvarez just cleverly untangles himself. Laid forward to Maru. Dickerson marshals him well. And this is Burko, who's looked lively in the opening 45 and change. And he's fouled here.
Alvarez on a yellow card. I mean, he wants to be physical. He wants to be muddy the waters whenever the ball gets into his region. But boy, oh boy, understand that the referee, this referee, is keeping a mental note of those challenges.
An interesting note, the last time they met on this field, the 3-2 comeback game, at 2-2, Westchester had a player sent off for a second yellow card, and ultimately that, of course, catered to Maru scoring the winner. So roles were almost reversed there. A different referee on a different day maybe thinks about brandishing the second yellow from his pocket.
And that challenge from Alvarez, I'm sorry to keep harping on it, but there were 3 white shirts around him. There was no reason to challenge. He was 40 yards from the goal.
Here's Jimenez, who's in behind. Plays it across now towards Burko. Only as far as Miguel Diaz. I do agree with you, partner. There was no reason to be logging a challenge of that nature, that far out from goal, especially with teammates in the vicinity, as you mentioned.
Especially when you're down 3-1 to players, 3 white shirts to 1 blue shirt. Now the forward loves nothing better than to have a get out of jail free card.
McGlynn. Always so smooth on it. On the wake of Juan Carlos Obregon Jr.'s departure a year ago, Connor McGlynn has taken the captain's responsibilities as Burko slips in behind, but he was offside. Big question for Westchester is where those goals come from. Of course, J.C. Obregon Jr. was a Golden Boot winner in USL League One with 18 goals a season ago. They lose a massive chunk of their production, nearly 50% of their league goals. So far, I've looked lively going forward. There's a cross from Dimmick. Guffroy. Baquero arcing it in. Comes loose for Noah Powder, and maybe options the other way for Westchester. Burko. Can switch the play if he chooses.
Excellent by Independence. Now they get behind the ball. There's no more break for Westchester. There was a window where they could have taken a chance and go direct, but they chose to hold on to the ball. Remember, they're up 1-0 at home. They can take their time and just move the ball around the park.
Powder.
And here's that luring the opposition onto them. Exactly what Coach Jokai talked about.
There's a player down now for Charlotte. It appears to be John Baquero. And that is certainly a point of concern. Last season's top creative playmaker with the 2nd most assists in the league.
Former MLS super draft pick. He had some serious potential.
Well, fans, you can catch every heart-pounding moment at Westchester's home stadium at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. 2026 season tickets are on sale now, offering flexible payment plans, priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. Don't miss out on an unforgettable season of fun, friends, community, and soccer. Visit westchestersc.com to become a 2026 season ticket member today. John Baquero has walked off the pitch on his own power, but he's walking towards the bench, which may indicate his day is over. And so there is the introduction of Enzo Martinez, a club and USL Championship legend who returns for his third stint with the Jacks here.
Well, one creative playmaker for another. Baquero had the number 10 on his back. Now Enzo Martinez is playing as a 10, and Baquero has just put his sweater over his face, and this could be a long-term injury.
Seems distraught on the touchline, and we certainly send our best his way. Gives Enzo Martinez, the 35-year-old, spent years in USL Championship, has spent the bulk of his 15-year playing career in USL's ecosystem, to make an impact in his first USL League One match. And that substitution presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Alvarez.
Good defensive discipline by Westchester. Sitting in that low block, Burko just hovering, waiting to be the outlet.
Alvarez. Romero venturing forward from center back. Trying to find a way to maneuver around Jennings. Timchenko there to greet it. Burko. You're familiar with Enzo Martinez's game, no doubt. What sets him apart from the average number 10?
Well, first of all, he can play a holding midfield. He can play attacking midfield. I'll get to that in a second.
Ushers it wide now. Guthrie goes down in the area and wins a corner.
You know, he controls the tempo of the match. So he has supreme ball control. So he can go left, right. He can get past his first defender. He can hold off the first challenge, which will then buy him time to create. If he's playing deeper, he's one of those players that gets stuck in. He's Uruguayan. Uruguayans play hard. They hit above their weight, put it that way. So he can go both ways. He can defend the ball, win it back, create something as a two-way player, as we call it, or he can play that finesse number 10 and create chances for other players.
And this corner kick presented by Ice Air, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. It's an in-swinger. Reaches the head of Riasco, and it comes back loose to Alvarez. He plays it in again to the corner of uncertainty, and somehow it's headed wide. Romero with the goal at his mercy. And for some inexplicable reason, it still remains 1-0.
Well, he's going to lie down in bed and stare at the ceiling fan tonight. This one on a platter is an awkward bounce for him. He wasn't sure if to finish with his legs or with his head. He hesitated, and with that hesitation, the ball got past him.
Well, Hammersley was totally taken out of the play. What a ball that was from Luis Alvarez.
Beautiful. Again, you put that ball between the centre-backs and the goalkeeper. The corridor of uncertainty is a nightmare for defenders.
Will Charlotte come back to rue that missed chance? Guthrie. Looking for Maru, who does take it down nicely. Dimmick. The captain, an established veteran for years in the Charlotte Independence ranks.
When you have someone who's in their 8th season with the club, who lives and breathes Charlotte Independence, people learn to rely on him, Dimmick, and he rarely makes a mistake on this right-hand side.
Dimmick, of course, someone who also worked his way back from a long-term injury that started in 2023. The career-threatening neck injury, received a 2-level cervical artificial disc replacement.
Ouch.
He's the first ever athlete to return to play from that injury.
That is mentality, that is desire, that is just fantastic DNA. Incredible.
First pro athlete to make that return, and has reestablished himself as a starter in this league, and a high-level starter at that. Sprayed wide. Guthrie cutting inside on his right foot. Couldn't wrap his boot around it.
The problem when the turf is so quick, when you're cutting across the box like that, the ball is always moving away from you. So the only way to get it on target is to hook your foot right around the ball. Because remember, the ball is continuing to move Even when you're going into your motion of shooting, it's still moving away from you. So you have to overcompensate, hit it on the far side of the ball just to get it on target. Anytime players hit towards the middle of the ball with the spin going away, it's going to splice wide.
That's what happened there.
Exactly.
Evans. It's a sensational recovery there. Of course, there is the interesting backdrop of this fixture. Dave Carton, the former head coach for Westchester Soccer Club a year ago, now on staff for Charlotte Independence, where he spent years before even initially taking the Westchester job last year. It's definitely an interesting twist of fate from the schedule makers. Your first match back with Charlotte, and you return to your old stopping grounds. So far, the new look Westchester has the upper hand on Mike Jeffries and his staff. Alvarez looking long for Dimmick. It's a first-time cross in. Doesn't reach Maru. Jennings knocks it behind for a corner.
You can just rely on Dimmick. It's something you can hang your hat on every day of the week. He makes that run down the right-hand side. They find him, and his delivery, textbook perfect. Gets around the ball like we talked about, into the vicinity of Maru. Doesn't work out there, but it just shows the professionalism of Dimmick.
In-swinger from Alvarez. He's able to punch away.
Well, some would think he can hold on to it, but you don't want to take any chances with Charlotte Independence players in the vicinity, so Hammersley did a good job just punching it wide.
Martinez. That's clever. Gets it back. Cross lacked the ferocity required, but cleared only as far as Romero.
I believe Enzo Martinez was going to make his appearance sometime in the second half.
Maru chasing this, another corner.
I have to admit though, I think because of the Bequero's injury, he came on I think about 10 minutes too soon.
Definitely forces coaches to move the match script further up.
Yeah.
Alvarez has started to key in and play some delicious balls into the area from corners. This is another one, but a little tight on Hammersley. Well, you look at Martinez's CV, the all-time leader in goals and assists for Charlotte Independence across his previous two stints. Not to mention 80 goals and 50 assists and nearly 300 career USL Championship appearances. That, of course, across regular season and postseason. Someone who ranks in the top 10 as well in the league's all-time regular season goal-scoring list. So his resume undeniable.
And then intangibles, he's a leader, emotional leader, vocal leader, leads by example. And then he also has the willingness to chase down loose balls, even when he can't get to it. He has the willingness to engage in 50-50s. So all these intangibles, plus the statistics, gives you an idea of what Enzo Martinez is. He is, on both sides of the ball, defensively and with the ball at his feet, phenomenal.
Mike Jeffries has also mentioned, since he departed the club for the second time in 2022 and moved up to championship with Birmingham Legion, he's kept in touch consistently, and when he became available, they were thrilled with the ability to get him back into the fold. Feels there's still plenty of juice left in those legs and someone who can definitely make an impact. Romero.
And I think he has a vested interest as well because it's the Independence.
He's played so many seasons across his time with Charlotte Independence. This is appearance 162 of his Gags career.
Wow.
But the first in their League One era. This hook long, Maru, heavy touch. That was another chance to unlock Westchester.
Well, I tell you what, Dickerson and Timchenko were left for dead. And if you're Coach Jokai, you would not be impressed just by the fact that Maru didn't control it. Cannot be your fate.
Burko does well to win the first ball and takes it down himself. Can't quite keep it in play. His industry, both in and out of possession, is a sight to behold, Daniel Burko.
When you play as the only forward or the hold-up center forward, it is a thankless job. You have to run down from sideline to sideline, chasing any loose ball, and then you rarely have blue shirts to support you. So you have to hold off 2 defenders and wait for support to come.
Rahoud Manin has entered the book for Charlotte. Second Charlotte center back, now on a yellow.
Is the way he goes right over the player and onto their head. Is, I guess, the referee makes the referee concerned.
This is another appetizing set piece position. Diaz and Guzin in the vicinity as Mike Jeffries anxiously watches on. Alongside his top assistant, Dave Carton. Those two go back a long way.
Look for Dickerson on that far side to make a run.
Guzin arcing it towards the back post. It's knocked along towards Timchenko, who can't contact it cleanly. And now an opportunity for Maru to break the other way. Not the best of first touches, though. It's the second time his first touch has let him down. Oof. Martinez. Alvarez.
Wow.
It's cheeky for Powder. And it came off. Now launched wide to Miguel Diaz in acres of space. Streaking down the near side, wow. Shoved down in the area, and the referee appears to say it was clean. It was a gutsy decision from Kevin Riascos, and he may have just gotten off the hook.
Well, Riascos was always playing catch-up on that play. He never got side to side, never got shoulder to shoulder. That final challenge came from the backside of the defender of the forward, and that is a penalty every day and twice on Sundays.
Even if the contact occurs outside the area, which it looks like it may have.
If it was on the line, it's a penalty.
And even still, Dogzo did not have an obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
And he's also the last defender.
I think that Charlotte's missed out on a game-changing decision there. Burko wins a corner. Well, there's no VAR in USL, so there's no way they can look back at that, look at it for a red card, penalty shout, nothing. So the decision is final. And that is one that I think Westchester fans will come back to if they don't end this match as victors. Vigo Ortiz is warming up for Charlotte, but before that, we may have a corner. Arcing in. Not handled well by Burko, but Jimenez runs it down and can't keep it in play. Well, it appears Westchester is readying a triple change and just a singular change for Charlotte. So it's Alexi Armas, Kuhn Blumstein, and then one further alteration in Ermin Makic, who will enter.
Well, we've been looking forward to Blumstein to take the pitch for this Westchester team.
Guzin. Taken off in there by Romero, and this is Alvarez in plenty of space with runners with him. Finds Suebu Maru, looking back for Enzo Martinez. It's still Martinez. Across to Dimmick, and somehow they can't get a clean shot on goal. Jaime. And it appears Westchester may have finally been let off the hook, because Dickerson is down and clutching his leg.
Well, Coach Jokai has to be thrilled, not with this player being on the ground, but the defensive shape consistently corralling Charlotte away from goal. Blue shirts just bodying up and getting in between the goal and the forwards. And there was nowhere to go for Charlotte. Brilliant defending, brilliant team defending. And players throwing their bodies on the line, like Dickerson, Timchenko.
This is a concerning sight, though. Charlie Dickerson, the first-year pro, who started at left back a week ago, has played center back here tonight and done so admirably, is still down on the deck. So something to watch, certainly, for Westchester fans. One of their starting defenders these first couple of matches is down. In the midst of all of that, Vigo Ortiz, as well as the triple change for Westchester, is getting set to take place. Ortiz is a youngster with plenty of talent. Very young, in his teens, just 17 years of age, a former product of the Austin FC Academy that joined from Charleston Battery. He replaces Rahud Manin, and that's definitely an attack-minded swap. It may even signal a change in shape for Charlotte Independence here. Center back off for a winger attacking mid hybrid. Substitution presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Meanwhile, we await the long-anticipated return of Koen Blumstein, who's entered the club last season with sky-high expectations, but limited to just 5 league appearances a year ago with recurring injury issues. Alexi Armas and Ermin Makic also set to enter.
I think it provides the fresh legs up top for Westchester, and having your forward, remember your forward is your first defender, and to have those fresh legs come in with Blumstein is going to provide this Westchester team with some cover defensively, with him pressing the ball up top and allowing them to get their defensive shape.
He joined the club last January after spending 3 years in the Dutch second tier with Volendam. 22 goals and 34 appearances with the second team there throughout his youth career, and now at 26 years of age, hoping to make an impact in USL League One. His second season with Westchester, but in reality, the first in which he's been fully healthy. So Blumstein is one of the 3 in. It appears Jonathan Jimenez will be the first to make way, just shy of the 70-minute mark. So Blumstein for Jimenez. That is the first change, and as of now, it looks like Westchester may have 2 forwards on the pitch if Burko remains out there.
Well, he looks like a mountain of a man. And physicality may be something in his wheelhouse.
6'1", 172 pounds. Connor McGlynn also exits. So Makic on for McGlynn. Alexi Armas probably will be filling the McGlynn role, it seems. And finally, we can get back underway for the final 20 minutes. There's a quick turn. Diaz looking forward for Blumstein. Bash the other direction now. Something brewing here for Charlotte. Ortiz, his first touch. He's looking for Maru and had his cross cut out, but that's a lively introduction for the substitute.
Yeah, he's creative. He's very shifty, left or right, and can get past 1v1 situations with ease. Very smooth on the ball as well, Ortiz.
17 years of age, someone with the world at his feet.
Yeah, looks very natural.
Riascos. Here's the first touch for Makic, the Yonkers, New York native who is playing for his boyhood club. Dean Guzin was the 3rd player to exit for Westchester. So 2 changes in midfield for Westchester, and then Jonathan Jimenez, the winger, exits. So that means Daniel Burko and Koen Blumstein sharing the pitch at the same time. So 2 forwards now, potentially. We'll see if that alters the shape. All those changes presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Here is Blumstein. How will these subs change the fixture? Because it's felt like Charlotte's been on the front foot more frequently in this second half.
Oof, nice touch.
Powder. Early cross in towards Blumstein. It reaches Blumstein. It's an excellent save from Levy. It was almost a dream reintroduction for Blumstein.
And a dreamy ball as well. This one had bend and whip away from the keeper and into the path of Blumstein. Good save by Levy in the end. Took it down, did everything right. Just couldn't find that near post. I think the bounce was perfect for Levy.
Another ice air corner kick. That ball doesn't clear the first line of defense. Alvarez. Launches long. Convoy of blue shirts in retreat. Dickerson can't clear it adequately. Martinez. Kept in play by Dimmick. It's an appetizing cross. And the ball went out of play, according to our referee. Well, fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history with Westchester's first professional soccer club. Season tickets start at just $15 per game, bringing you world-class action at an unbeatable value. Visit westchestersc.com to learn more and secure your seat for the 2026 season. Don't miss out. Partner, this could be a fun final 15 minutes.
I believe so, especially with Westchester, with those reinforcements that came on. You just saw Blumstein almost getting the second goal. I think the more Charlotte pushes up, the more exposed they're going to be at the back. However, players like Ortiz coming in with Martinez can be crafty enough to get through players like Timchenko and Dickerson.
That's a heavy touch from Levy.
Yeah, I think he almost apologized to Alvarez.
I think he's grateful he has support back there right now. Martinez. His first tussle with the substitute Alexi Armas. Martinez. Headed along towards Maru. Just about see it back to Hammersley. Another man down here, briefly at least, for Charlotte. Alvarez. This time Kyle Evans wins it right back. Looking for Blumstein, picks him out. Blumstein still giving chase, but Skinner recovering brilliantly.
Yeah, Skinner's moved into a center-back position now, rather than wing-back.
Other direction now, Ortiz. Back and forth we go. Vigo Ortiz's cross overweights it for everybody.
That final product is always the hardest thing for young players. They always have the athleticism to get past players or maybe dribble, but the pass or the shot that takes so much technique and guile is usually the last piece of the puzzle to be fit.
Definitely can see why he's considered one of the more higher potential players in USL League One, though.
Yes.
Headed along by Burko. Makic. This is Armas. Runs into a convoy of Charlotte players. Lofted long again. Route one now from Westchester. And they're first to every first and second ball. Evans. Brought down by Alvarez, who's already on a yellow card, and the referee says there was nothing in that. Now Alvarez strolls the other way. Ortiz. A bright bulb since coming on. Early cross this time. Headed away towards Dickerson. And now Blumstein. It's the ultimate game of cat and mouse. Charlotte desperately pushing on for an equalizer. Westchester digging in, looking for chances to counter. Dimmick. Guffroy. Across to Vigo Ortiz. His effort blocked.
Look at the defensive posture by this Westchester team, getting stuck in. Positioning. Players interacting, players getting into altercations in a good way.
Exceptionally drilled, it seems.
Yes.
Last season, a big criticism of them was they were vulnerable at the back. The most goals conceded in the league by a country mile, a lot due to lapses in concentration, individual errors. Right now, holding on to a 1-0 advantage. Alvarez hoping to change that for Charlotte. Continue to run down every loose ball. Whistle sounds against Jaime.
Well, he's young, he's fit, and full of legs. Evans bursting away. Jaime, again, was always going to be second to the race. And going through the back of Evans and winning the free kick. The ball was going out of play. Nowhere for Evans to go.
If you were looking for the best advertisement for the youth movement that's going on in Westchester, this first 80 minutes is a pretty good one, and if they can see it out, it would be a statement result against a team that has spent plenty of money to reload.
Correct, doing it with youth, doing it with players, who, like you said, well, willing to follow Coach Jokai's message. And they've done so tonight, especially a phenomenal finish by the little number 10, Dean Guzan, in the first 15 minutes. That took a lot of quality. There was so much work for him to do on top of the box. So despite all the team efforts, that took an exceptional amount of skill to get that first goal by Guzan.
Came inside the opening 45 seconds of the match. Westchester's first sojourn forward. They've held on to the advantage ever since. And Evans wins this back off of Guffroy. Looking long for Blumstein. Fans, 2026 Westchester Soccer Club's U.S. Open Cup journey starts on Thursday, March 19th, right here at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon. Tickets are now on sale. Come cheer on your county's team as we take on the New York Renegades. Tickets start at just $5 and are selling fast. Visit westchestersc.com for more information. Double change now coming for Charlotte as they chase this, and one of the Academy products who has made his way back to his boyhood club in Jefferson, Amaya, is entering. Meanwhile, two more actually, Fabrice Inga, as well as Miles Lyons. So a triple alteration seems to be brewing for Mike Jeffries and company. Romero negotiates through traffic well there. Dimmick. Martinez. Chance to queue up a long throw if they so choose. Guffroy. Corner coming now for Charlotte.
Chance for Riascos, Manin, and Moreau to become a thorn in the sides of Dickerson and Timchenko.
It's the 8th corner kick of the match for Charlotte Independence. The previous 7 have not yielded anything of note. Outswinger from Alvarez this time. Comes to the edge of the area for Ortiz. Only as far as Jaime. Alvarez again. Maru. Ortiz back into the mixer, headed by Maru, and right at the goalkeeper Hammersley.
It's the second time tonight Ortiz just took the easy route and just lofted the ball back into the box. It's so hard from that angle to get a goal unless you're right on top of this
Mackett trying from afar here. Sorry, Levy was in retreat.
No worries. While he had Maru who pulled aside, one extra pass, Maru was in on the left-hand side. Again, love the energy and excitement of Ortiz, but putting it all together in a package takes time for a footballer.
Now the whistle sounds. Appears the offside flag went up against Charlotte. And now may be the time for them to make changes. Jefferson Amaya, Fabrice Nga. One further alteration on the way. It is Miles Lyons. So Lyons out of the USL Championship in the fray. Fabrice Nga, a veteran of Charlotte Independence, and a pleasant welcome back to Jefferson Amaya, who finished up his college career at High Point, was exceptional in his 4 years there, and returns to the club where he began his academy career back in the day. All those substitutions presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. So Jaime is one of the men to vacate. Amaya is a player that Mike Jeffrey said he sought to reward when bringing players in. Drafted in the second round of the Super Draft, but didn't sign with Real Salt Lake. Looking to make an impact with his hometown club. Alvarez now, and he is fouled, and this is a quality spot for a free kick.
It's all about the angle here. Again, the players to the right of the D are going to be his targets. You almost want them to make that run from the right of the D across the penalty spot. And you want Alvarez's ball to be curling towards the keeper. And if a forward gets in line with the ball and just nods it past Hamstel, that will be the ideal free kick. This ball has to be dropped on the 12-yard, onto the penalty spot right here.
Alvarez has delivered a number of appetizing balls. That's a good one. Fits your description to a T.
That was it to perfection. He made the run from the right of the D to the penalty spot. The ball was on the penalty spot. And the centre-back should have done better.
It was Riascos who got the first touch and didn't nod it on frame. Well, Skinner was the one to make way for Fabrice Nga. Jaime made way for Jefferson Amaya. Jefferson Amaya, the first player in Big South history to earn some sort of major conference award every season of his college career. And he earned it a different award every year as well, whether it be Rookie of the Year, whether it be Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, or Midfielder of the Year as a senior. Unprecedented achievements for a High Point program that is on the up in the college ranks. Now looking to translate that to the pro level as Burko goes down here on the near side.
Well, he's run his socks off, Burko, asking for the free kick, not going to get it. But you can't fault the centre forward who's chased everything down. He's pressed the passing lanes. He's made a nuisance of himself. And now more fresh legs for Westchester.
Well, it's Miguel Diaz who will exit for Josh Drack in a defensive-minded change. What a performance from the youngster in Diaz.
He ran on every blade of grass on that right-hand side. And when he had opportunities to take players on, he did so. He got behind the ball defensively. Did everything a coach can ask for as a right midfielder.
Substitution presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice.
Always prime. That's right.
It seems like Westchester's game management here has been quality.
Yeah, again, the emphasis is to keep the game in front of them, not get caught behind, playing a little bit deeper.
Handed along by Burko here.
Uh-oh.
Jennings dispossessed, though, in numbers for Charlotte. Alvarez again, sprinting at the defense. Early cross in towards Maru. It's Swebu Maru, who just drags it wide. And Hammersley didn't even need a touch on it.
What a pass by Alvarez. It looked like he had nowhere to go outside of the foot into the path of Maru. Look at that. Doesn't finish, but what a peach of a pass.
He's the public enemy of the 914th Infantry, but hasn't quite been able to replicate his heroics from 10 months ago.
It looks like he forgot what he did 10 months ago.
Has been a long off season. Still Well, he's gotten into some quality positions. Now the other way, Blumstein. Lenskos seeding what looks to be a Westchester throw. Stephen Payne is getting set to enter now for Westchester.
Just fresh legs defensively, fresh legs in midfield, just so these guys can chase balls down, not let players get behind them. Coach Jokai going deep into the bench.
Long throw now from Armas. Headed along by Burko. Drac got a touch. Drac with the audacious attempt and committed a foul in the process. And they will make the change. So Stephen Payne will enter the action in the dying embers. A out-and-out right back looking to shore things up for the Golden Apple. He replaces Max Jennings in a like-for-like swap.
Well, Stephen Payne was asking for Jennings to slow down, to come off, as Jennings had a full head of steam coming towards the sidelines. Payne was like, no, take your time, take your time.
The game within the game.
Yes.
Ortiz. Taking on Kyle Evans. And he may have been offside. That he was. Well, that substitution presented by Benjamin Steakhouse, always a prime choice. Final minute of the initial 90. All eyes will watch the fourth official with great interest. It's a Westchester side, Ryan, that kept just one clean sheet the entire league season a year ago. That was a 2-0 victory in the Snowbird Derby in mid-October against FC Naples in their final home match of the year. This will be a major statement of intent for a squad that struggled mightily defensively last season.
Let's call this game an extension of the second half of the first game. So Coach Jokai saw what he saw in the first half. It wasn't pleasant. Everything was loose. Defensive posture was poor. Everything tightened up space-wise in the beginning of the second half against Knoxville, and it seems to carry over into practice.
Yep.
It was reminded to the players, and then when they stepped onto the pitch tonight, it was executed. What happened in the second half against Knoxville in training, and it continued right onto the pitch into this match. Excellent coaching by Coach Jokai.
Called halftime an aha moment where he felt things started to get sorted. 6 minutes of stoppage time. It's presented by Mar & Mar Attorneys at Law, fighting for every minute you deserve. That's what separates Westchester from an elusive clean sheet victory.
And they may have sacrificed one game or a half, which they couldn't get it back in the second half. But I think it was worthwhile for coach to see what he had in that first half.
Ortiz is looking to change the narrative and is brought down just outside the area.
Yellow card.
How the tale could change in a few quick seconds. Pure Stephen Payne's been booked.
Ortiz, impossible to stay up one-on-one. They had two blue shirts. And there was actually...
Josh Drac.
Yeah, it was Drac who was the culprit.
He'll have to watch himself for the remainder of this one. And another chance for Luis Alvarez to test this Westchester defense. He's been keying in from these situations the last 10-15 minutes or so. And he actually will cede this free kick.
Look for Dimick at the back post.
Enzo Martinez, the lone man over it. It is Martinez who drives it into the wall. Corner.
Looks like Martinez was going for glory. He saw his name in the front page in the Charlotte Independence.
Fizzes this in, and it's a rather underwhelming delivery.
Well, you can understand with the amount of skin he has in this game, playing for the Independence, his blood, what the team that he was raised in as a young adult. He wants to make a difference. He wants to create an impression. You can understand the emotional sort of attachment he has to the Independence, and I think he was doing too much there to try and bring it back. Sometimes less is more.
Absolutely. Feels like he almost tried to assert himself too much in that instance. Amaya. Dimick. Knocked away towards Daniel Burko. And Amaya was fouled.
And he may have lost his footing rather than a foul. You can see the Coach Jokai at the bottom of the screen, not impressed.
Well, either way, we're now midway through our more and more injury time. And at this current moment, Westchester in line to secure a major 3 points against a side that is tipped to compete this season in Charlotte. Amaya, collected by Hammersley. Seems like he's made every accurate decision.
And you can see the emotion by Hammersley, understanding what's at stake. And it's going to be a set piece now for Westchester.
That may be the frustration. A whistle sounding immediately after he collected that. Well, Timchenko is gingerly back on his feet. And the whistle sounded ultimately against Charlotte, so no harm, no foul. Well, it's important to note, for Andrew Hammersley, this would be a monumental night as well, because he's not completed a professional clean sheet, as Riascos has shown the yellow card. So this would be his first clean sheet of his career after making 9 league appearances a year ago and frankly struggling between the sticks goals allowed wise. Burko. Looking long now for Blumstein, who's fighting with Riascos and just about loses that foot race. Time winding down on Independence. Romero. Amaya. Looking for Luis Alvarez, but Payne there to disrupt. We enter the final minute of the added 6. An anxious wait for many in attendance in Westchester colors. Dimmick. Back across. Knocked away before it can reach Lions. And once again, Westchester first to the first and second balls.
And that's just attitude. That's what the coach talked about at the beginning of the season. And they're executing that belief.
Cross from Lions now. Cleared away. And as far as Jefferson Amaya, is likely Charlotte's final sojourn forward. Romero, menacing ball in. Doesn't fall for Ngap.
Last sequence.
3 points hang in the balance for Westchester. Riascos. Muscled off it by Blumstein. And he can run away with it now. Only briefly, though.
Riascos is like a heavyweight fighter, just leaned on him. And that was the end of Blumstein.
Dimmick, one final cross in. It's a decent one. Falls to the edge of the area for Vigo Ortiz, and he tucks it home! Sensational from the 17-year-old, and at the death, Charlotte pulls the equalizer in.
Too much time, too much quality. Hammersley can't believe it, they can't fault him. The players stood and stared as the 17-year-old took his time, picked his pocket. Look at this, blue shirt stopped and stared, took a touch, and finished it beautifully to the far post. Just bended it in. It had whip and curl. And a beautiful strike to tie it up at 1-1. You let your guard down for 1 minute in this league, and quality like Ortiz will make you pay.
The teenager with his first professional goal. And what a time for it. Westchester 1, Charlotte 1, and Vigo Ortiz has rescued a point.
The game is played until the final whistle. When that ball was cleared, you have to throw your body in front of Ortiz just to throw him off. There was nothing there. He was allowed to take a touch, and he knew exactly where he was going. He was at the left of the D, and he was going for that far post every single time.
There is the full-time whistle. Westchester stunned with the final kick of the football. After leading for nearly the entire match, opening the scoring in the first minute, they are pegged back at the last. It finishes Westchester 1, Charlotte Independence 1 in a thriller here in Westchester County. We'll take a quick breather here from Mount Vernon. When we return from the stadium at Memorial Field, we look back at a thrilling conclusion to these 90 minutes. Stick with us on ESPN Plus. We welcome you back to Westchester County, where a thriller comes to a conclusion. Charlotte Independence pulling a late equalizer at the death through a 17-year-old Vigo Ortiz. This close to 3 points for Westchester, but they fall antagonizingly short. And let's look at our full-time highlights. A goal in the first minute and a goal in the last minute.
Yeah, fantastic finish by Guzon. Took it beautifully, got past two, and just tucked it in to that near post. Had so much to do, but the Dutch midfielder finesse gives him 1-0 lead after 45 seconds. Dream start for the home side.
Then throughout the first half, you saw Charlotte starting to battle back, and they rattled the crossbar just before halftime.
Skinner's delivery, Dimmick right back into the mixer, and Bakira has to put this away, but he does not. Crossbar to the rescue.
It is a miracle that Charlotte did not enter halftime level. And then in the second half, they had an arguably bigger chance on 73 minutes, but this is before a chance for Westchester.
Noah Powder's delivery. Blumstein just came on, tries to find that near post. Great save by Levy in the end. Quality cross, quality strike, and even better save.
Quality save there after a glaring opportunity for Romero to equalize, but Vigo Ortiz would pull them level at the death.
Dimmick's delivery, nobody gets out to Ortiz, takes a touch and beautifully tucks it home into the far post, bending it in, almost passing it in. That is a quality strike by a quality youngster.
And that is where we finish up from Westchester County, a thrilling 1-1 draw in which Westchester denied 3 points in dramatic fashion at the death. For my broadcast partner Ryan Davis and our terrific crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb, saying so long from Westchester County, where it finishes Westchester 1, Charlotte 1. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.